Rainbow flags in classrooms and unisex signs in bathrooms. The Center for Disease Control claims its latest guidelines are meant to make schools more inclusive.
Critics charge this agency is promoting a social agenda that could turn America's classrooms into laboratories for gender ideology. Charlene Aaron has the story.
According to the CDC, its LGBTQ Inclusivity in Schools, a self-assessment tool, aims to help schools increase support for those students. One of the bigger questions surrounding this move is how does it contribute to the agency's mission of helping families, businesses, and communities fight disease and stay strong? The self-assessment document, which the CDC says is voluntary, is posted on the agency's website. It encourages educators to display rainbow flags in classrooms and unisex signs in bathrooms, and urges teachers incorporate LGBTQ content in their lessons, use of student-preferred pronouns, and attendance at LGBTQ trainings. Jay Richards serves as director of the DeVos Center for Life, Religion, and Family at the Heritage Foundation. He maintains this call falls outside the scope of the agency's role as a public health entity.
So we have the Center for Disease Control pushing materials which essentially denies the reality of sex and instead offers a replacement ideology called gender ideology. I don't think people necessarily realize how profound and radical that is.
Attorney Mary Rice Hassan with the Ethics and Public Policy Center fears the move could create an atmosphere harmful to staff and students who believe it violates their religious beliefs and conscience.
This really oversteps the boundary of both what schools should be doing, but certainly what the government should be doing, forcing, in a sense, because of the implicit pressure, they say it's voluntary, but really they're putting coercion on anyone who has anything to do with the schools.
Something she warns could be a goal of organizations associated with the tool and promoting the LGBTQ movement.
It conditions kids to start questioning the most basic element about who they are, male or female. And then it includes in this assessment tool the encouragement to refer children outside the school to receive services that are going to support their self-defined sexuality or gender identity.
In a statement, the CDC responded that LGBTQ plus students experience severely higher levels of violence, bullying, and suicidal thoughts and behaviors than other students. CDC and partners developed this tool as an optional resource for school administrators and staff who are interested in better supporting LGBTQ plus youth. Please note these are not guidelines and use is voluntary. Richards says the tool's ties to activist groups is especially troubling.
The links to activist groups like the Human Rights Campaign and some even more radical than that, I think shows the real nature of what we're dealing with here. It's not as if this is hiding in plain sight. It's not hiding at all.
He encourages concerned parents to find out what's happening in their kids' schools and to speak up.
We might notice boys in girls' locker rooms or boys playing in girls' sports. That's just the very tiny tip of the iceberg of what is actually in store if we don't stop this thing.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
It's like we lost our minds. We're trying to educate a whole generation to question their sexual identity, and it just doesn't make sense from a cultural standpoint. I'm certainly not in favor of persecuting anyone in the gay community. There should never be made scapegoats for the overall problems of our culture. But at the same time, why? And you've got to ask these questions. Why? The CDC is putting these guidelines out because of these questions. Why is there such a high suicide rate? Why is there such a high drug and alcohol abuse rate? Why is there mental illness rates that are skyrocketing in the gay community? Why is there depression skyrocketing? And the CDC is coming out and saying, well, it's because of bullying in school, and we have to re-educate everybody else in the school. But I think we're going to find over time that it's not. There's something else going on here, and this community needs our protection and our help. But the way to do that is not training children to question their own sexual identity.